Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to Elk Mountain mining. We've just been down into town and picked up another load of these concrete barriers and getting these taken up to the new mine site. It's been a mammoth few days. This is not our main project, but we are going to try and get some gold into the new wash plant today. It's been a while. We've been spending a lot of time and a lot of money getting to the point where we are now with the new wash plant and everything all set up and ready to go. So we don't have too much more to do up there before we're ready. We do still need to get another rock truck and figure out the best way to automate the process. To start with, it might be a little bit of manual driving back and forth and just loading trucks and getting them dumped in. We're obviously not going to get it running quite as efficiently as we do in the main gold mine, well, at least not to start with. Hopefully in the long run we will be able to achieve that, but for now we just want to get up there and start getting some dirt run through that wash plant and getting some gold made. So that is the plan. We'll get up here and get this unloaded. We've still got a few stones to clear off the path, so we need to get those cleared out of the way. What else is there on my list of things to do? We've got to organise the rock trucks, we've got to get some diesel down there into the wash plant, and then we should just about be ready to go and figure out the best way to do it. So let's get on up there. Now the main mine is up and running. We've got some trucks running there, we've got some dirt all stockpiled. That is all running on its auto drive courses and all automated as we have had it before. So that is good to have that going and getting some more gold made up there, because we've been pretty busy doing these other things and we had neglected that. We will have to get back over and get the other gravel mine up and running at some stage too. Won't be today, but I think next episode, if we can get the gold up and going today in this mine, the next episode will be focused on getting the gravel production up and running at the new mine as well as at the old mine. So plenty still to do here in Elk Mountain. So let's get on up to that mine, get these unloaded and make a start on all those other jobs. Well, here we are back down at the mine. Now you'll see we have had a little bit of a tidy up and ordered the equipment around a little bit, moved it all around and just tidied things up. It was getting a little bit messy here. Now with these concrete blocks, I'm not actually sure how we're going to lay them out yet, because we do need to get the ramp built and figure out how we're going to negotiate this yard area in terms of backing up and dumping trucks and things like that. So I don't want to put them in the way where they are going to obstruct any courses or anything like that. So we're just going to unload them here and get them stacked up. We might even be able to move them around with the skid steer. We do have that with the forks on the front, and there is some space. You'll be able to see it up on the top one. There is some space there to lift them with forks, so possibly we will do that. But for now, let's just get these unloaded with the crane and off the side of the road, off the side of the yard, and then we'll go and start getting the stones, or the remainder of the stones. We've got a few over the bridge somewhere, wherever the bridge is, over this way. We've still got a few stones we need to pick up there. Now, I think we're going to use the front loader and the rock truck for that, because as great as the scraper was, it made it very hard to unload things at the other end. But we do have a few. There's not actually too many. I think it'll get done pretty quick. But then we'll be up in here and start our mining. Now, I was looking actually at the map. Our land does go a long way back in that way, so we might even look at clearing some more of those trees out once we've made a start on the mining and heading back there into the side of the hill. We'll see how we go. But anyhow, for now, let's go and get those concrete blocks unloaded, and then we'll get these stones all picked up. We've got everything all set up here. These were wobbling around a little bit, so I did just want to get the first one off before we had any exploding barriers, as can sometimes be the case. So we've got that first one there off. You see we've got the supports and everything all out here on the crane. I've really enjoyed playing around with these different cranes we have in the last few episodes. It's been a lot of fun actually. Just a different dimension to Farming Simulator. It's something we often talk about. Often talk about is the different ways you can play the game and the different things you can do, and how much fun the modders do bring to the game here. So we'll just need to cycle back through there to the crane, because we were selected on the block. I'm going to get this one offloaded, and then we'll be able to get the ones on the back unloaded as well. So we'll get this all sorted out, and then we'll go and grab the front loader. Very noisy. I'll go and grab the front loader and go get started on those rocks. So last one here. Good thing I didn't try and show you all of that, because they did misbehave just a little bit. I think some of the physics was getting a little bit excited and they were starting to spin around. I'm just hoping this one doesn't do the same as we try and get it lowered down here. Hopefully we've got enough stretch to be able to reach over top of these and get it into a position. No, it doesn't look like we're going to. It's alright. We'll have to just bring it in a little bit closer. Maybe we can fit it up the front here. Let's see. There we go. It looks like it'll fit in there. And turn that around a little bit. Perfect. Well, that one definitely behaved a whole lot better than all the others did. They were just all a little bit wonky. I think just the physics with all of these objects and the different aspects to them. All in all though, Pretty good job. Very good job. And there we are. That is on the ground now. So we'll be able to get this crane all folded back up and parked up, ready for another trip. We do have one more load to go and get, or at least one more load. We might do two. We'll see how we go. Get this all folded up and back into position on top of the truck, and then we'll be able to go and get started on these stones. So like I said, I'm not sure how many rocks there are left here. There's not too many. They're quite spread out. I think if you remember when we did the main entrance, it took a few stacks. There's a few loads that came out of there, but not too many once we got to where it was a little bit more spread out. So we're just going to race through getting this done. Obviously we want to be able to get on to finishing setting everything else up for the mine. So we'll just jump into a very quick little time lapse, get all of these rocks dumped off. We're going to have a huge amount of gravel we need to get processed, and like I said, that is certainly going to be something we'll do next time. So we'll catch you in just a minute. And there we go, that is looking much tidier. I just need to get rid of these couple of rocks. I do need to install easy dev mode onto this game save. I don't have it at the moment, still using power tools, but I think we can delete those using easy dev. So I might just get that sorted out soon too. But other than that, it's all looking very tidy. So what else is there to do? Well, we got rid of those tree stumps. We need to build our ramp out here for the loading into the wash plant. Interesting collision here too with that truck, so also proves why we won't be using those rock trucks going across the bridge. Seems to be a little bit of an issue. Only going the one way though, not going the other way. Plus the fact is they are horribly underpowered when they have a full load of rock. Very slow. But anyhow, we do need to get a ramp built up in here, but I want to get our main rock truck here that we're going to be using, the same as the ones we've got up in the main mine. Want to get those here and test them out before we go and place that, just to make sure we get everything set up roughly how we want to. So I think what we might do, we might go and jump into the low loader and take that down to the shop, down into town. I think our trucks are sitting down there waiting for us. We do have one ordered, we haven't paid for it yet, but it should be down there for us to go and collect. So we will go and do that now, and then get back up here and hopefully make a start on doing some more mining. And here is our new truck, obviously another Volvo, same as what we've got up in the other mine. Now, I thought we were going to be fine with transporting that, but I'm just looking here at the axles. I don't know if we're going to be able to. Now, I do think that normally they'd drive one of these or load them onto the trailer, then they'd probably block the axle onto the trailer and take the wheels off for transportation. We don't have that luxury on Farming Simulator, so we're just going to have to see how it goes on the trailer and how it fits. We do have the supports out the full width. Going to be pretty close. The rear wheels are going to be fine because they're duals. I think it's just going to be an issue on the front. Not to mention, I'm also starting to wonder whether we'll have the horsepower to pull it up the hill. But we'll see how far we can get, and if we have to unload it once we get out of the main town and up onto the hill country roads and drive it the rest of the way, then so be it. So let's jump in and get it loaded on the trailer and see how we go. Get the back wheels loaded up there. I think we're pretty centered on, and just enough. We've got what, a quarter of each of the front wheels sitting there on the trailer, but that's enough. Next question will be whether it will stay there the whole trip, but for now that is loaded up and ready to go. So we'll get the truck back in and get it hooked up and see how far we can get up the hill. Could be a bit of a challenge, but we were keen to give it a go. Alright, well there we go, we are loaded up, so we'll try and get swung out of here. We might have to deal with some of the traffic. Now we really should have an over width pilot vehicle in front of us, but we don't have that luxury either, so we're just going to wing it. Hope that no one comes and sees us doing this. You can already see we've dropped that front wheel off just going around the corner, so not sure how far we're going to get. We'll keep going and see if we can get it all the way there or not. You might just have to turn a little bit of a blind eye to the realism at this point, because we're limited with what we've got. Just wait for this car that's coming along here. Got a bit of space after that. Right, let's go and see how far we can get. So I've just repositioned the load, and as I was approaching the bridge, realised this is probably going to be our biggest hurdle, apart from getting up the hill, is fitting it through these girder bridges, and we'd have no choice. I think there's one the other way too, so we would have to go through it either way, but there we go, actually got plenty of space. Could have almost brought a bigger truck. Alright, well there we go, that's that hurdle overcome. So let's carry on. We've got the truck sitting on the back there just a little bit better. Whether it stays there like I said or not is another story. In fact, it looks like we've already lost it off the front. But anyhow, let's carry on up and get back up to the mine and make a start on, well, getting the ramp set up and then hopefully getting some gold running through that plant. Well, even with one wheel hanging off the edge, we've managed to make it all the way here on the back of the truck. So that has worked out alright. Obviously it would have been nice to have been able to do it with the truck sitting on the whole way. We did readjust it 2 or 3 times on the way here, but as soon as we tapped the brakes or the truck wanted to roll, obviously isn't locked in quite as well as it could be, which is a bit of a shame, but that's alright, we'll get by. So, now that we're here, let's get it unloaded, and we'll figure out how we're going to get things working to head on up to the top there to get some dirt out of here for the mine. So, everything dropped off, and we'll go and have a little bit of a drive around in this big truck and negotiate some of these areas. Alright, so first things first, can we make it across the bridge? Now I did test this, and yes, the truck is wide enough, or the bridge is wide enough, the truck's narrow enough would be the better way to describe it. So we can fit across the bridge, which is obviously one of our key requirements. Now we can probably actually straddle straight over the stone. Let's see what happens when we get to here. A little bit of a jump. The bigger question is going to be, when we get to this spot, how do we turn around? Now I think the best option is going to be to just nose in there, and then back ourselves up towards where we're going to want to start mining from. And using the excavator, we'll be able to use the truck. So I think that is going to be our course. The excavator parked up there on the side, and just start stripping some of this ground here out and loading the truck. So with that all looking like it's going to work pretty well, I'm impressed with the turning radius actually on this, and I'd noticed that on the ones down in the other part of the mine, or the other mine, they do turn pretty well, which is going to be quite critical as we come back here to load things up or dump off into the wash plant. There we go, back across there, no dramas. Again, we don't have that same collision issue that the other truck was having. But if we come in on an angle kind of like that, and assume that there's a ramp in front, we can actually do a reverse course. Going to back in quite nicely up in here to dump into the side. So I think that's going to work pretty well. Which leads me to my next step, which is actually going to be recording the auto drive course, putting the ramp down, and then testing it all out with a live load of dirt. So let's go and get this ramp built. Now, the one thing I am mindful of before we do any mining, before we go any further, was the one condition the county put on, which was to plant some trees along the road verge and just tidy up the front entrance. So we are going to go and do that before we start mining, because we're so close, I don't want to go and jeopardize anything at this stage. So let's get this ramp built, get the auto drive course recorded, and get a few trees planted. So the ramp we're going to use is the same one we're using over in the gravel mine. This is the modular BGA ramp. I'm just checking there, it is wide enough, only just. It's actually very similar width to the bridge, but I think that is going to work out alright. So we just bring that back around this side, and we're going to position it pretty much right there in front. Now we do have to turn, by the looks of things, turn our build anywhere mode on, but if we just have a look there, that's looking pretty okay. Let's just square it up just a touch more. Obviously the wheels don't go all the way to the back, so if we just position it in there, you can see our wheel tracks on the ground, so we're in a pretty good spot right about there. So get that placed, and we'll do another test, make sure we can back up to it. We ended up just a little bit too far over the one side, but let's have a look here. As long as we can back up, no worries. There we are. We'll be able to dump into there. The tray's got far enough. You see we turn the dump animation on. Here we go. You see that tipping. So that's going to work out alright. And then we can drive back off to the other side. So let's get this course recorded. And in fact, let's go and plant the trees first. And then we'll come back and get the course recorded and jump straight into trying the mining out. So we are going to go with just planting some big trees just to get that screening set up. I know it's not quite realistic. We could have come in here with one of the seedling planters, is it the damp con or whatever it is, that we could have planted some trees with that and had them grow. But I think for the role here that we are doing, let's try and get this all set up, because then it'll look nice and neat right from the onset. So we're just going to plant a few of these along here, and we will do something a little bit different around the entrance, I think. So there we go, that should be enough that direction. Just get some planted coming along that way as well, which was part of the agreement. Okay, that should be enough. Now, what I'd like to do is actually build some sort of fence or gate system in here. Probably not a gate as such, but at least some fences. So let's have a look and see what options we have under that. So there's a few different options here for fences, but what I think is going to work best is something that looks a bit nicer than just a bog standard timber fence. Something with a little bit of height. We're going to go for this iron fence or steel fence here. So I think if we just run a piece along that way, and then we're going to have to move the side by side there and get that out of the way. But that's looking pretty good already. Now we might, you know what I might do? We can put a gate on. How big are the gates? The gate's not very big. The gate's not very big. We don't have a big enough gate, I don't think. So what I might do is, instead of doing that, we might just run these back across, link up that way. And if we come back onto the other side, this can sort of simulate a bit of an entrance. Bring that out there, back along the front here, and then head back down towards where these trees are. There we go. I think that's probably not a bad little approach, an entry into the section or into the site. And then the last thing I think we might just do, might just have a look at some planting and just a bit of beautification here around the entrance. Nice orange flowers, perfect for Argsy gaming. One of those on both sides. And there we go. We're working our way up towards having a much more attractive entrance to our mine than what we did have. I think that is a good way to finish things off before we go in and get into our proper work. And I can't help myself. I'm going to put a couple of these hickory trees in behind here just to make it look a little bit nicer. And I think one more thing, let's get some industrial lights here at the entrance. In fact, I'm not too happy with any of these from a height perspective. Something nice and tall like these ones here, probably be about the height we'd like, but they're probably a little bit too big and industrial for a front entrance. So we'll have a look to see whether there's some options somewhere where we can download something that might look just a little bit nicer at the front entry for the site. But I reckon, I don't know about you guys, I reckon that looks pretty neat. Pretty neat and tidy. Very impressed with that. So now we've got the beautification taken care of. Let's get into trying to record this course. So if we just jump into auto drive here, get into this and press record. So I'm just going to very carefully and slowly take this course down towards where we want to start mining. I need to be very careful. I'm interested to see whether auto drive will like driving over these bridges or whether it will detect a collision, and also how accurately it follows the course, because I am a little bit worried that it might be just a little bit narrow and tight for it and might clip the bridge a few times. I also, as we've done this, I think we should have probably done a two-way course here in the middle. Might have been a better option. That's alright. We'll be able to deal with having it as a one-way course. Get into there, then we want to back up into the middle here. I've got lots of space to maneuver, so it will adjust as it needs to. And we want to pause right there, and we're going to add our first label. Gold 2 truckload. I think might be better. That will be gold mine number 2. That is our truckload. Okay. That would be a good way to remember where exactly we are in the world. Head on back up into the wash plant. Like I said, it would have been better to do this as a two-way course, and in fact, maybe we can come through once we've got the maneuvering sections done at each end. It might be better to come back and do that as well. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. I haven't quite got that in the right spot. I'll just keep recording the course there. We should be able to get into our dump spot. And then we can drive back out. Now I'll come back and do the label in just a minute because I want to make sure I get the label in the right place as well. There we go. If we turn that off and stop recording, we should be able to just tidy up those few little pieces. So there is our course. We want to close that off. Let's just see if we can fix up this reverse course here where I made a little bit of a meal of it. So we've tidied that up just a little bit and we've got our label up there, Gold 2 Truck Dump. So I think there's nothing left now than to test this out and see how it's all going to work. Like I said, I think we could probably go through and delete a lot of the one-way course and just make a two-way course in the middle there just to tidy things up. But for now, we're just going to test it out like this and see if we get to where we want to go and if we can get some gold or some dirt dumped into the wash plant. So we've set ourselves up here, Gold 2 Truckload. That's where we're going to fill up, Gold 2 Truck Dump, and we want to collect dirt. Now, there is our first issue, which I thought we might have, is collisions. So if we just come into here and find our settings to turn collisions off, I think it's a global setting, so it should come in under here, collision detection. Now set to no. That could be problematic. So we've just done a little bit of a test. The issue is the pipes. Because of the way these are configured, I'm expecting they are a vehicle, and it was detecting a collision with the vehicle, not the bridge. So we've gone through the realism of placing the pipes with the crane and everything like that. We've now got a bridge doing what we want it to do. So I think we're just going to have to let that one go and carry on. So let's see what happens now with getting up here to the top end where we want to load the truck from. Interestingly enough, it's not nosing in as far as I had recorded the course. I've actually even dragged that further up. Now that one's a little bit better. This is the second time I've had to go. You can almost see the wheel track there where it did go the first time, but it did mean it keeps this lock on and doesn't turn direction quite soon enough. This is certainly a lot better than the first time I did this. I think we're going to get a little bit closer. But just an interesting little observation there. I don't know how. Try and fix that. We have got to where we need to be through good luck rather than good management. So we might just have to tweak that reversing just a little bit, but let's just push forward and go back to the dump point and see how it goes with the reversing there, because that could be our next issue. And as I suspected, it hasn't driven as far forward again, and now is going to be in a horrible position to try and get up the ramp. Again, might salvage it, but I don't think we're going to. Right along here for a touch, but there you go, you can already see it hasn't changed lock, and it's never ever going to make it up there. Going to try, but it isn't going to. The take two here for the dump point, I've lengthened the lead-in for the reverse point, so as it turns in here, it should hopefully drive a little bit further forward before it starts reversing, because that was certainly our issue last time. It doesn't get to a point where it's almost at 90 degrees to the ramp before it starts reversing up. So there we go, that's actually got a little bit further forward. That might work now, touch wood. The other thing I might look at doing is replacing the ramp with one without rails, but putting two side by side possibly. I do have some other options there, because I'm not quite sure if we're going to make it round quite enough. Again, it's going to be close. We can get that back wheel in, hopefully it changes lock soon enough, but close. That's much closer than it was. In fact, that would probably get to the dump point because it's now going forward. So I think, as we're on a cycle, we're just going to pause that there before it goes too far away, and I'm just going to have a look at the ramp options and see if we can just do something a little bit wider without the guardrails on the side, and see if that might help. So we had a little bit of a look in Mod Hub and found a few other ramps, and this one here, which is part of the bunker silo set, seems to be about the best one we could find in terms of having the height being wide enough. The only downside to it is just a touch long. Now I wonder if we can make that work with the way we do our reverse course. Maybe we turn the other way, turn over towards where the concrete barriers are and nose up that way and then back rather than turning to the left. So I'm going to try this one. We'll see if we can get it to work. I just think the extra width, and if we really want to, we could place two of them side by side and use them that way. But we're just going to get this one put down there, and we'll see how our course works with that. So we just turn it back on. You can see obviously our reverse course is not going to work there. So we're just going to have to go through and delete some of those and come back in and re-record it. But like I said, I think if we possibly come and turn it over to the right, might work just a little bit better. So we'll have a look at that and see if we can make it work or not. Well, I've lost count of the number of times I've tried to get this course to work, but the tyre tracks on the ground seem to be a pretty dead giveaway of how many times we've tried. The problem I'm having is when the truck turns like this, I'm not getting it straight enough when it tries to then start backing up. And it's backing and not going along the blue line very well. However, this one, if it turns direction now, could just about be onto a winner. This is looking the best we've had so far. You can see we've got tyre tracks going off on the right side of the ramp. Tyre track is only just on the left side of the ramp. But I'm not going to jinx it too soon, but this is looking like it might almost be successful. There we go, we've got back to the dump point. We haven't driven over too far, and we are heading now down to the load point. So, like I said, I don't want to jinx it too much, but we might just about be there. So let's head on back down this way and see if we can get backed up into the truck load point. We need to get rid of those rocks. And see then about getting an excavator down here and possibly gambling with putting some dirt into the wash plant. Well, I don't think it's quite perfect, but I want to get some dirt into this wash plant. We're fastly running out of time. We're going to have the longest episode ever if we don't go and do that very quickly. So let's get down there and see, before we wrap things up today, whether we can get a load dumped into the wash plant or not. I'm hoping we can. I think we're pretty close to having this auto drive course working how we want it to. So we'll take the excavator down and start digging. Alright, let's get digging in here, see if we can get some dirt down into this wash plant. I've had to reset my control binds, and I haven't reset them for my joysticks, unfortunately. I wasn't sure what we were going to be doing, but the 1.7 update for Farming Simulator caused me to have to redo my keybinds. So I still have some of those to redo. So we're just going to have to make do with what we've got and see how we get on with digging in here, just using the controller. So far so good. Be just a little bit more jittery because we can't do 2 inputs at once. Let's see if we can go and get at least a truckload loaded up here and get it all down to the wash plant. Alright, and there we are, there's a full load. So let's go and jump in the truck and ride down as we head on down to the wash plant and go and get this dumped in, or fingers crossed dumped in. Well, so far so good. We've managed to make it down this far without any issues. We've been getting across the bridge, and regardless of how narrow it is, without any problems. The big test is going to be last reversing manoeuvre, so we can get backed up into the right spot to dump into the wash plant. But again, looks like we're in a pretty decent spot right now, nice and straight. Get turned and hopefully lined up with the ramp and head on back up into that tip point right at the top. Oh, we're up the ramp. We're almost at the tip point. Are we going to detect a tip? And we are. We are dumping gold or dirt into our wash plant. Oh, this is awesome. Excited to finally be at this point. It's taken us a wee while and a lot of effort and a lot of frustrations actually on this last little aspect, getting this auto drive to work. But I think we are 90% there. I think there's still some tweaking we need to do up at the top with the excavator. And probably still a little bit of tweaking we could do here. I think we've probably backed back just a touch too close to the top of the ramp, so we might just tweak the edge of that and adjust some other things as well. Next thing, we're going to have to figure out how we can get into unload the tailings. That might be a little bit more of a challenge too, but at least we've got plenty of space over there, and I'm pleased I didn't put those concrete barriers down to create a bit of a barrier where we're turning in and just adjust how anyone entering or exiting the mine might come in to make sure they don't clash with any of the equipment. So there we are. I think this is going to be the perfect spot to leave things. Obviously we need to get the diesel down here. We haven't done that yet. It was something I was hoping to do, but we'll do that at the start of the next episode. Get down here, get some real dirt moving through this mine, and get things up and running properly. And then we can turn our attention to that big pile of gravel, because there is a lot of stones there that need to be crushed, moved, get rid of, whatever it is we're going to do with them. So we will be getting into that very soon. But there we go, we're just about backed into position to be able to take another load out. Not too far off, not too far off at all. So I'm going to leave things there. We're a little bit crooked, to be honest, let's not lie, but I think that is a perfect spot to leave this episode. We are making gold, or we are mining gold up on our new wash plant. Very exciting. So as always, it's nice to be back on Elk Mountain. I hope you guys have all enjoyed that episode. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.